2 inches. Just picture a pair of fangs longer than your own thumb. Welcome to this explainer where we are breaking down the absolutely terrifying biological mechanics of the gaboon viper strike. We're going to explore exactly what happens to your body minute by minute when those massive fangs sink in. Because this isn't just your standard snakebite, it's a biological event that is quite literally unlike anything else in the animal kingdom. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this staggering biological weapon, we've got to start right at the front of the snake, with its fangs. Like I said, they measure a massive 2 inches long. To put that into perspective for you, if you were to take the fangs of a king cobra, a black mamba, and an inland taipan, and combine all of them together, the gaboon viper's fangs would still be longer. It's a structural anomaly that sets the stage for a uniquely devastating strike. Now, a massive pair of fangs is one thing, but it's how the gaboon viper uses them that changes the game entirely. You see, when most snakes strike, they bite, release, and then back away quickly. But not the gaboon viper. When this snake strikes, it locks its jaws. It holds on. It drives those 2-inch fangs incredibly deep into your tissue, right past the muscle layers, and directly into the areas where your blood circulation is at its absolute strongest. It simply does not let go, ensuring every single drop of its deadly payload is delivered exactly where it will do the most damage. And when we talk about a deadly payload, the numbers are just mind-blowing. While the king cobra has highly neurotoxic venom, and the inland taipan is famous for its extreme toxicity, the gaboon viper relies on sheer, overwhelming volume. It injects up to 2,400 milligrams of venom in a single jaw-locked bite. It completely dwarfs every other deadly snake on Earth. That single dose is enough venom to kill 6 adult humans. It's just an absolute flood of toxins entering your body all at once. Part 1. The invisible threat. Perfect camouflage. So now that we understand the incredible weapon this animal carries, we arrive at a fascinating mystery. How does a massive, heavy, 45-pound predator that grows up to 6 feet long manage to stay completely hidden in the sub-Saharan African wilderness? The truly unsettling answer is you would literally never see it coming. The gaboon viper possesses a masterclass in camouflage. It relies on this highly evolved tapestry of geometric shapes, these intricate patches of brown, purple, and pink. Now, to our eyes, if you isolated it against a solid background, it looks vibrant. But against the leaf litter of the forest floor, it becomes utterly invisible. Most bites don't happen because the snake chases someone down. They happen because this massive creature is so perfectly hidden that someone accidentally steps right on top of it. So the crucial thing to understand is what happens the millisecond you do step on it, and that jaw locks onto your leg. The venom rushing into your deep tissue is primarily cytotoxic. What this means is the venom goes to work instantly, destroying the cells surrounding the bite site. It's a process called necrosis, causing rapid tissue death. Unlike some snake bites where the local pain might be surprisingly mild at first, a gaboon viper strike brings immediate, intense, and unmistakable burning pain because your cells are literally beginning to break down. But the local cell destruction, that's really only half the battle. At the exact same time, a specific group of venom proteins called hemorrhagens enter the fray. These compounds have one job: attack your circulatory system. They actively target and separate the cells that line the walls of your blood vessels. They literally rip apart the structural integrity of your veins, which allows blood to leak directly out of the vessels and into the tissue spaces everywhere in your body. Let's track how this builds over the first 15 minutes. At minute 0, you have that deep tissue strike, the immediate burning pain we just talked about. By minute 5, blistering begins to appear on the skin, turning dark as that leaked blood pools into the surrounding tissue. By minute 15, the swelling is becoming extreme. Because of the sheer volume of venom and that rapid vascular leakage, a bitten hand can balloon to the size of a human foot in just a single hour. Moving past the 15-minute mark and into the first hour, the situation escalates dramatically. The venom's effects have now gone systemic, meaning your entire body is under attack. By minute 30, that widespread blood vessel damage triggers a sudden, severe drop in blood pressure known as hypotension, throwing your body into severe shock. By minute 60, cardiotoxic compounds in the venom begin launching direct attacks on the electrical signals controlling your heart, causing wildly erratic and very dangerous heart rhythms. Part 2. The blood paradox, a terrifying medical mystery. We've seen how the venom destroys tissue and drops your blood pressure, but now we enter a phase that genuinely alarms medical professionals more than anything else. Your blood essentially loses its mind. It begins behaving in a completely paradoxical way, triggering uncontrolled clotting and uncontrolled bleeding at the exact same time. It's crazy. On one hand, you have microscopic clots forming everywhere they shouldn't, which blocks vessels and causes massive internal organ damage. But on the other hand, the blood is refusing to clot at the actual site of the leaks, so it just keeps pouring into tissues and body cavities. This simultaneous dual failure of your blood system is what leads to potential strokes, seizures, and just devastating internal damage. And while this systemic civil war is raging in your bloodstream, the local tissue destruction at the bite site is continuing relentlessly. The venom is so heavily concentrated and injected so deeply that in documented severe cases, doctors are left with absolutely no choice but to perform a surgical limb amputation. The cellular death just becomes too extensive to treat, and removing the limb is the only way to stop the necrosis from spreading further up the body. So, after going through that staggering list of symptoms, from extreme swelling to your blood simultaneously clotting and hemorrhaging, you really have to ask yourself a serious question. Can a human body actually survive this biological weapon? Is this bite just a guaranteed death sentence? Well, the surprising and very good news is that survival is absolutely possible, but you have to follow a brutal recovery protocol. It all hinges on step 1, immediately administering species-specific antivenom. This is literally the only thing that can neutralize those hemorrhagens and tissue-destroying proteins. From there, it's an intensive care marathon. Doctors have to actively manage your crashing blood pressure and erratic cardiac function. They have to constantly monitor your kidneys, because all that dead cellular debris from the necrosis can easily overwhelm and shut down renal function. And finally, surgical intervention is almost always required to cut away the dead tissue. It is a very harsh road, but with modern medicine, it is survivable. Part 3, a surprising truth. The docile viper. Okay, we've spent this entire explainer analyzing a heavy, perfectly camouflaged predator armed with record-breaking fangs and a world record payload of tissue-destroying venom. But here is the ultimate twist when it comes to the gaboon viper. Despite yielding the highest venom payload on planet Earth, the gaboon viper is remarkably, almost unbelievably docile. It is essentially a 45-pound pacifist. It vastly prefers to avoid conflict entirely. It'll just sit perfectly still in its camouflage and let threats walk right past it rather than strike. It rarely bites unless it is directly handled, intentionally provoked, or violently stepped on. Because of this incredibly calm demeanor and the fact that most victims who do get bitten manage to reach medical care, documented human fatalities are actually surprisingly low. The gaboon viper is a true masterpiece of evolution. I mean, it has the longest fangs, the most perfect camouflage, and an absolute ocean of devastating venom. Yet it uses all of that specialized biological power almost exclusively to hunt small mammals on the forest floor. It has zero interest in hunting humans. It perfectly illustrates how a creature can be so lethally armed, yet pose very little threat to us if we simply respect it and give it the space it deserves. But, that realization brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. This explainer really wouldn't be complete without asking this crucial question. If this walking biological weapon, with its 2-inch fangs and 2,400 milligrams of venom, isn't the snake taking the most human lives every year, then which snake is? Which animal is actually the apex threat to humans? The answer might surprise you, and it's exactly what we're going to uncover in our next explainer. We'll be turning our attention to the Russell's viper. We're going to discover why it's not the sheer toxicity or volume of the venom that makes a snake the ultimate killer, but rather its location, its behavior, and the frequency of its encounters with humans. Join us next time as we break down why the Russell's viper claims that deadly crown. Until then, keep asking questions and stay curious.